There we go. We are live. Happy Thursday to you guys. Hope you're doing well wherever you're watching. We already have people checking in per usual. And before we kind of let folks know, if this is your first stream, you've never watched this before, we start off every show asking people where they're watching from and, kind of what you're most excited about here in Orlando. So drop that down below. Let's get some of the conversation going to figure out where exactly we're watching from in regards to our overall viewership. We got people checking in. JJ's checking in from Hunters Creek, as always. Miami Coffee checking in. What's going on? Good to see you, my friend. Let's see. Oh, there's a ton of other people new names. I love this. Brenda checking in from St. Charles, Illinois, though. We got a whole bunch of other folks checking in from Mineola. Pickle says, welcome to Go Tigers. Yeah, opening day is opening day today. I feel horrible even asking that question. I shouldn't be able to call myself a Detroiter. But keep letting us know down below. We're going to definitely answer as many questions as we can for you guys tonight. We've got a packed show with a bunch of things to talk about in regards to real estate, theme parks, living in Orlando, Florida laws, all that kind of stuff. But my most favorite thing to do is hanging out with you guys. My partner for the night is Chase Farmer. What's going on, Chase?
Howdy. How are you doing?
Dude, I'm doing well. We are going to try out early in the show tonight. We got some pub subs because last time we went live, people found out that I had never tried a pub sub before. And so we'll do that in just a minute. But tonight we got a lot of other cool things and answering questions along the way. So feel free to do that. And we'll kind of roll into it. So Chase Farmer, how's your week been, man?
It's been pretty good. Busy as always, working hard out here at the Orlando Reel in the Pozek group, but good week so far.
Good, man. I love that. Johnny says Tigers are opening up right now tonight against the Dodgers on the road. Oh, so this is an opening day. Opening day in Detroit, if you've never had the opportunity to watch the Tigers in opening day in downtown Detroit, I know this isn't a Detroit show, but it's a literal holiday when you live there. It's freezing cold typically, and people just end up drinking, eating, and enjoying some baseball for the first time. Kim says, Florida man. Let's see. Who else we got going on? Thanks, Mrs. Florida man. All right, right on. All right, Sir Chase Farmer. Should we get into the news first, or should we try the pub sub first?
I think that's a decision only you can make, sir.
Let's roll with two different stories first. Our first one over here: Dart interests seeking entitlements for thousands of short-term rentals near Disney. Now, we talked about this last time we were on the show. Evermore is one of the most incredible resorts in Orlando, but they're actually Evermore, the people that are the developers by it. Growth Spotter brought us actually 2 or 3 good articles we're going to talk about tonight. They're going to be extending and bringing on even more units. There's actually 1,600 acres in Grand Cypress Resort, which is what Evermore is sitting inside of. And it has approvals for 1,668 short-term rentals, 1,500 hotel rooms, 207 multifamily units, and 100,000 square feet of retail and entertainment. So if you've not seen this before, it is pretty impressive, everything that they're actually already built there. They already have a 433 room Conrad. It's a Hilton, which is fantastic. There's great food there. It's just really fantastic. But so if you don't want to be in the actual hotel itself, though, you can have a short-term rental kind of vibe. And I talked about this, funny that this came out right after our show last week. But if you don't want to be in a hotel, or maybe you don't want to have an Airbnb, but you want to have a house and the amenities of a hotel, that's Evermore. They've got the Crystal Lagoon there. They've got the hotel amenities just right on side, but they've got flats and villas to where you're going to be able to enjoy kind of the Airbnb lifestyle, have a little bit more room and to spread out, but have all of the amenities. And so Evermore, I actually got to listen to the developer talk about this at an event recently, and it's having so much success. They plan on taking this idea to other areas as well. And so it's going to be interesting. They're going to be expanding that, adding more to it, adding more short-term rental community within the neighborhood. And this is here. The other crazy thing is you can't buy these things. The developer owns them all. And so originally when we first saw this come out, we thought, hey, maybe you're going to be able to buy these up and enjoy that kind of thing, kind of similar to what the Ritz-Carlton did, where you can own the house, but then put it in the pool with the Ritz-Carlton. Those are still cool opportunities. But yeah, let me know if you guys checked out Evermore. And what do you guys think? Have you taken Miss Fallon over to Evermore there, Chase?
I have not, but I've wanted to for a while now, just to check it out.
Yeah, you got to go check out Siba over there for dinner. Yeah, that's a good thing. We had somebody ask earlier, Chase, I forget who it was, but they were asking, what do I think about Orlando Sports Commission seeking millions to draw major WWE and UFC events here? And actually, Orlando Business Journal come up with an article just today. So Orlando seeks $18 million to host WWE and UFC events. It could bring more than 300,000 attendees, a quarter, $225 million of economic impact. And the bids would include WrestleMania, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble. Chase, are you a WWE fan?
So I feel like because I'm a NASCAR fan that you would immediately assume that the two are connected.
That's actually true.
Yeah. But I'm actually not. Never really got into it. Love the lore of, like the big, whenever they come out and they do their big bombastic, stuff, but sure. Never really watched it as a kid.
I'm getting more and more into it. If WrestleMania comes to Orlando, I'm definitely going to go there. But the events that they're looking to draw would be 2026 WWE Survivor Series. It would be 2027 pay-per-view UFC in August or September at the IKEA Center, 2028 Royal Rumble. So this is like all the way up until 2031 that they're bidding for different events. And so the Orlando Sports Commission is doing incredible work in regards to just bringing more and more events here to Orlando. This is much so beyond major sports, though. So if you think about, we've been talking about, are the Rays potentially going to come to Orlando? Tampa got rid of their bid to try to push and create a new stadium down there. And so does that happen? Orlando Sports Commission, they kind of do everything else. So they're trying to push tourism, like sports tourism and all these kind of really cool things. And to know that there's literally this company out there pushing to bring more tourism here is just something you don't think about when you're enjoying all of the things that we have in Orlando. But between Visit Orlando and Orlando Sports Commission, it's pretty cool to see everything they're trying to bring here. All right, Chase, I'm kind of getting a little hungry. I think now's the time.
All right.
So let's do this. So Pub Sub, if you're lived in Florida, you visited Florida, Publix is everywhere. That maybe, that pub subs are a thing. This is like people go there for lunch. Why else would you go here, Chase?
It's a wonderful place to get your groceries.
Well, yeah, obviously. That's where I get. I'm saying a pub sub. Why are they so? What's the lore about these things? Why are they so such a big deal?
I would love to be able to answer that question, but I think we're both about to answer it together.
Okay, so wait, before we bite in here, Dylan on our team, O'Brien, gave us his special recipe. What are we eating here?
So I think it's chicken tenders. It's the Chipotle mayo, which is like my favorite. I love the Chipotle mayo. It's got Gouda, I believe. It's got spinach, banana peppers, garlic pickles, and it's toasted.
This is a lot. So this is like one of the reasons I don't have pub subs is just because I don't like a lot of bread. But
this is quite a bit.
All right,
here we go. We're splitting one.
we're splitting one. All right, here we go. All right, you go first.
What? Because your mouth's full?
Yeah, my mouth is totally full. I feel like I didn't get enough sauce.
Yeah, I'll try to do my best. Let me scarf it down.
It's a little dry, if I'm being honest with you.
We did get it about an hour ago and hold on to it.
Yeah.
So there is that. It's good.
It is good.
The flavor is solid.
I agree.
The chicken tenders are good. I mean, I'm getting a lot of chicken tender flavor. With the banana peppers are also extremely carrying a lot of the weight there. If I had to give it a number rating,
give us a number rating.
6.75.
I'll give it a 6.5. I give it a 6.5. Would I do it again? If I was with like a group of people, we're going on a car ride, that's probably when I would get a pub sub. I mean, grab it. You're going out to the beach, grab a pub sub. That makes sense. So am I a Floridian now? Is this am I official finally that I can say that I'm a Floridian? I don't know.
I think you can. I guess my question to you is, do you understand the hype now? Or are you like, why is this so hyped up?
I think it's better than Subway. That's for darn sure. But it's not. I like Jersey Mike's is probably a little bit better in my opinion.
I agree,
but it's good. I don't know. All right, there we go. We tried it.
Yeah. What do you guys think in the comments here? Let's look through here.
All right, we got Winston checking in. He says, "Dude, you're live and chomping down." I am, man. I had to get my Floridian back. Apparently, everybody was calling me into question just because I've been here for a decade. Doesn't mean that I'm actually a Floridian until I've had a pub sub. But anyways, we'll see. Let's go over to our next article here. So Forbes had an interesting one out. This is over. This is actually a few weeks old now, though. But how Universal Orlando's newest theme park, goodness, now that food, how Universal Orlando's newest theme park may impact Disney World. This is a conversation that we've had a ton, where it's like, Epic Universe is opening. Terra Luna, their new hotel, just opened up a couple days ago. You got Epic Universe. The reviews have been incredible. I'm super grateful I get to go on the 5th of April to actually do a quick media tour, and then we're going to do a more in-depth one in May. But I'm stoked everything coming on. But what's it actually going to do for Disney? Now, I've been talking to a lot of people over on Instagram recently about the changes that are coming. And this past week, we talked Buzz Lightyear, the ride over at Magic Kingdom, is going to shut down. They're going to make it look a little bit more like Disneyland, but even better. I'm stoked about that. You've got new rides opening, or new shows opening up, Little Mermaid, that kind of thing. But over in Magic Kingdom, you've got Cars Land and Villains Land and all these other kind of things. So Disney's already starting to react. But I don't know, Chase, like, what do you think, man? Like, you're more of a Universal guy, I feel like, in general.
It's funny. I have been, because we live so close to Disney now, I'm going to Disney all the time. Overall, what do you want my opinion on, I guess? All these changes that are happening specifically with Disney, or between
do you think Universal is going to be able to pull like a solid amount of visitors that originally were going to Disney that are now like, they're starting to look over maybe and consider Universal?
I think that for, at least on TV for me, I've been seeing so many ads for Epic. I don't know if you've been seeing it as much as me, but I have to imagine that's happening like as a the entire country's getting hit with these things. I think it's going to do what they want it to do, but I'm interested just in the market in general, right? And everything that's going on, how will that affect what that number looks like as a whole?
Because travel's down and that sort of thing.
Yep.
There was an article, I don't have it up here, but there was an article that travel from Canada this summer is down like 70% year over year in terms of like potential, like, pre-booked travel and that kind of thing, which makes sense with the tariffs and everything else going on. But 70% seemed like a lot to me. But we're going to see. I do also think, if I'm an Orlando fan, like a theme park fan, and I live in anywhere, not done just Canada, but if I'm somewhere in the country, I think to myself, like, I probably want to wait till Epic opens, then give it a few months before I would even consider. So I kind of feel like we'll have a bit of a busier third quarter and fourth quarter in regards to tourism, which is typical of our every year anyways. But it'll definitely be interesting. There's another article that I did pull up here. This is by Park Stop, but it's everywhere now. So Epic Universe Express passes, VIP tours, Darkmoor makeup, and photo packages now on sale. So that was something that none of us actually, we were concerned with. Like, could you get a one-day pass? And then would they be doing Universal Express? Would they be doing some of the VIP tours? And this is May of this year. So $260, a one-day express pass. Is it $260? Is that true?
I think that the starting prices, I think okay, so 130 is down there.
130 is here,
yeah. It looks like they have two people. It's like a two-guest thing. I don't know. What I saw was that it was $129.99 was the starting price at Epic for the VIP, or not the VIP, but the Express. So I don't know why it's showing up that way, but that's what
Express
I saw.
passes are currently limited to single day use Express at this time, and opening day is priced at $260. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
So then it probably drops from down there. But that's interesting. I think about it like it's going to be packed, and so if you can afford it, I think the Express pass is probably going to be the way to go. At least for a little while.
In my opinion, it's the only way to do it if you are going on opening day. Literally opening probably the couple of weeks there, and then I think it'll start to die down because people are scared to go at the beginning because of all the, like, what if a ride doesn't work properly and you miss out on certain experiences,
Yeah. And SunRail Cope, he said, or he or she, SunRail Cope, I'm definitely not going to go to the park when it opens because holy moly, the waits are going to be a pain. Yeah, I agree. This has been like one of the most hyped thing of our generation anyways, seeing Epic open. So I'm really stoked about it. Chase, let's go over to the mailbag. If you guys don't know, we do this where if you guys have questions that you want us to read, maybe you're not going to be here live, but you want to watch or listen later on, that you can email in. You can go to info@pozekgroup.com, shoot over your question. And we had a bunch of them come in since our last show. So definitely do that. Chase, what's our first question?
Yeah, we got a ton this week. So we'll just kind of rattle off some here. So Samantha from Baldwin Park asks, where do you think the next big entertainment or lifestyle district will pop up? Similar to what we've seen in Ivanhoe, Milk District, or Hamlin?
Yeah, lifestyle is kind of an interesting one. Like if you think about the development of everything that's coming along, brand new. I mean, like we've talked about Westcourt a ton of times. I think that that's going to spur so much of other stuff kind of downtown. But in terms of like a new district, I think Hourglass is still significantly like in its infancy. So that might be one that pops up. I mean, yeah, I think some of the Wild Oaks is another one. Like once that actually, there you go. That's actually a really good answer. A Wild Oaks is probably what I would say. In Apopka, when you look at what's going to happen there, they've got their little mini Baldwin Park. Actually, mini. It's darn close to the size of Baldwin Park. That'll be interesting to see. It'll be really interesting to see the retail that they put there, though. Like I think a lot of these developers need to be a little bit more cautious instead of just like throwing in a Walgreens every time. I mean, I get it. Like those are big national brands that pay the bills. But man, the places like Mills 50 and Milk District, the reason why that they're so popular is because it's that authentic mom and pop place that so many people want to be a part of. And so like, I still have yet to see a lot of new development be able to capture that, right? It usually happens a little bit more organically. So it'd be really interesting to see. Funny you said that though, because I actually pull up something. There was one. Where did this come from? Originally, this is a travel. Toronto Star. Speaking of Canada and not traveling, it says I went beyond the theme parks and finally found the real Orlando, not to be confused with the Orlando Real, in its surprising neighborhoods. And so this is a really cool. I'll drop this in the comments or the description after the show for the show notes. But this was really cool to see and hear somebody who does not live here that loves the theme parks, and their specific like goal in their trip here was to figure out how do they get outside of the theme parks and enjoy what Orlando is actually about. And so when you go through here, Elizabeth is the writer. She said, basically in November, she went through here. She really checked out Mills 50 was one of them. She tried Korean barbecue, Hidden Wine Bar, the Imperial, which is inside Asian churro shop. They went to the meadery. I still have not yet been to the meadery. Like I enjoy. Have you had mead before?
I don't think I have. I've been by the meadery so many times, but I've never.
It looks incredible. Now this is what it looks like inside.
God,
it looks
great.
So sick. Yeah. When I think meadery, I kind of automatically think like, I don't know, like
medieval
times is what I think about. Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but you took it out of the words. But this looks really, really cool. So she went here. Mills 50 is where she was hanging out quite a bit. Then she popped over to Park Ave, and Winter Park was checking out like Hawkers and some other different places. College Park is where she went to, and Audubon Park after that to sort of see some of the nature. Winter Park, Chain of Lakes. It was really cool to kind of see all the stuff that we love talking about, even outside of the theme parks, and what does that actually mean to outsiders. And yet it is really cool to see somebody like this. I saw this article get shared a ton of times, which is why I want to bring up tonight. We've got a lot of really cool things to be proud of here that are starting to emerge and have emerged. Like, I don't want to say that this is like one day going to happen. This is something that has been happening for the past 5 to 6 years. And it's really cool to see some of those more authentic places getting their flowers, as the kids say. So yeah, great question, by the way. All right, man, let's do one more question.
All righty, here. Let's look at the list. Let's get something a little different. I like this one. It kind of goes into what we were just talking about. So let's say, so Lewis from Winter Garden asks, let's say you got 24 hours to show someone the real Orlando. No theme parks allowed. Where would you take them and why?
The real Orlando. I mean, so exactly what I just said. I think it's probably, I'm taking them outside of iDrive and Universal and Disney. Like, it's so easy to say, let's go pop over to Disney Springs because you can have a good time. But I would say, what are they into first and foremost? Are they into the nature scene? Do they want to be a foodie for the day? Do they want to take in a show? There's like just so many things to do to try to feel out. And the fact that you have so many things that you could rattle off that are not theme parks, I think goes back to the fact that Orlando has so many really cool things.
Yeah.
Let's pop over to Benjamin. Had a question here. He said, I'm moving to Orlando next year from Texas. Your YouTube videos have helped out a lot, man. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Joel says, hey, what do I think about chatting with you on Instagram? Yeah, dude, I appreciate you he sends me some really good research. I'm excited to dive into. What are my views on Eagle Creek? Well, Eagle Creek's fantastic, man. I mean, so if you don't know, Eagle Creek is right across Narcoossee from kind of what we would call the real Lake Nona. It's Lake Nona is in 32827, and it's this 17 square mile development. Master plan community, if you will. And Eagle Creek's right across there. And they're built out by Emerson, the developers Emerson. And I mean, listen, it's golf gated. There's like schools right in the neighborhood. And I think Narcoossee is the possible problem, right? If you don't love the traffic, like if your school time traffic is rough up and down Narcoossee, they are trying to do some alleviation with a lot of new roads coming in. But the neighborhood itself, I think, is great. You've got some older houses built in like, late 90s, early 2000s, all the way to new stuff. And I think it's just great. Jones Home built out the majority of the new stuff. They built a really good product. So for the most part, solid. Let's see. What other starred ones do we have here? Benjamin says, my budget's $1 million. Celebration. Is Celebration significantly better for accessing Disney Springs than Windermere or Winter Garden? Also, my work will be MCO. Is there a way to avoid I-4 from Celebration? Yeah, I mean, so Celebration, you don't even have to get on I-4. You can actually get into the back way over by Waterside and just get on right on 417. And 417 is great. They've widened it. I drive it all the time, and I get caught in traffic for sure, especially around 5:30 or 6 o'clock coming back towards Celebration. But for the most part, good traffic, like keeps flowing, which is great. But yeah, you don't have to get on I-4. Back to your other question in regards to like Celebration or Windermere Horizon West to get to Disney Springs. I mean, Horizon West, pretty easy to get to Disney Springs. Windermere is great too. You can jump on 535 and go in the back way, which I think is easy. But for the most part, it's pretty equidistant in terms of from Celebration or Horizon West. So both of them are going to be 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the time of day. All right, let's keep going. I forgot I got a whole bunch more things, man. We got like a good engagement here. All right, so this is an interesting one by Orlando Weekly. Florida bill would ban AI from deciding insurance claim denials. Chase and I, we've been messing around with AI a ton over the past, especially 24 hours. The new ChatGPT image, if you haven't seen this, all over X and Instagram and all over, it's absolutely insane. And AI is permeating everything that we do in a very quick way. And so one of the things it says, Florida's Senate committee Tuesday approved a bill that would prevent insurers from using artificial intelligence as the sole basis for denying claims, with proposal saying that decisions should be made by qualified human professionals. Hey, Chase, have you ever had ChatGPT maybe return the wrong prompt?
Very often. And funny enough, I don't know if you noticed this, I've seen that ChatGPT has almost gotten worse over time for me.
Bro, I agree. And like, so even GPTs, like I've trained for quite some time, and I'll reintroduce more questions or URLs, and I'll notice like, because sometimes like we don't really script our videos a lot, but sometimes I'll feed it like, here's my idea, what are some holes that I'm not thinking of, and it'll throw out random stuff that I'm like, that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's taken in so much data that it's kind of like all kind of grouped together into giving everyone the same mid answer. Like a lot of time, I feel like it gives you like, we talked about it so many times, like if we feed it anything about real estate, it's like, check out this hidden gem, this little hidden gem.
Every real estate agent in the world has started using ChatGPT to use the description. And so every time I'm scrolling through the MLS, I'm like, that was written by ChatGPT. Hidden gem. Not everything's a hidden gem, fellas and ladies. Come on, expand your words. Even give it a prompt. Say, you can't use hidden gem. Use some other words. Crazy. Ward Kimball says, hey, what are the best communities near Walt Disney World with ranch homes, not active adult? I mean, ranch style homes. So ranch is, I'm guessing you're from the north somewhere, like from the Midwest where I'm from. Ranch just means single story property where you're not like rear entry or not, but I mean, Horizon West has them everywhere. It's either a bungalow where you've got rear entry or ranch style, all single story. There's a ton of them. Like every builder has one of those in their back pocket. I love Ashton Woods. They've got the Plant Street model or plant model. It's great. It's like a really solid, like 1,800 square foot model. And there's other ones. MI Homes has a bigger single family or single story. There's tons of them in Horizon West. So if you're looking in that kind of area, but yeah, I can't think of a builder that doesn't offer a single story or what you might call a ranch style home. Let's see. Yeah, SunRail Cape. Let's go to that question. So Ken, should iDrive be looked at and at redevelopment for better transit connections like bus lanes when the Sunshine Corridor gets done. Yeah, SunRail. Is it Cope? Yeah, SunRail Cope. So here's the thing. That whole area is going to see a lot of multimodal things happen to it. iDrive in general. I think it's going to be really exciting actually when it all is fleshed out and built, with Epic opening and a lot of the other hotels opening. You've got a lot of investment going on at the convention center right now. And so they're doing everything from like autonomous vehicles. They're doing more stuff for bus, like closed bus loops that kind of just go up and down iDrive. And then obviously they need more, places for easy access with cars and parking. On top of that, I think they need to make sure that we're being a little bit more safe with a lot of the bikes and that kind of stuff, because it kind of gets a little dangerous on iDrive if you're not in a car. So they are trying to make it very multimodal to where, depending on what you want to do, that you'll be able to get around. So hopefully that answered the question. Speaking of SunRail and Brightline, this is one thing. Who did this come out? This is West 2 put this one out. So Orlando, Florida Tourism Oversight District. God, I hate that. Why can't we just go to Reedy Creek? Proposed to spend $500,000 to support a study for shared rail that would be utilized by SunRail and Brightline. The proposed corridor would have stops at Orlando International, near the convention center, and then again on South iDrive. The change, if proposed, would allow Brightline to expand the Tampa route around I-4. Developers are estimating that the plan would cost $6 million and take 2 years to build. This is the thing I didn't hear in all of these articles, because Chase, they were talking about major changes could bring SunRail near Disney World. But they've been talking about this forever. And so it doesn't seem like there's going to be an actual stop at Disney, which from what I heard originally, that was the plan, like put a stop at Disney Springs and watch what that does to like MCO, to the convention center, over to Disney Springs. But I don't see that in any of these studies. Have you seen anything similar?
I mean, I was under the same impression that you were, that they were going to do that. I mean, we've been talking about that for years. It feels like at this point that it was a plan to stop somewhere in the Disney area as part of all of that connection.
Yeah. So what the article is anyway saying, and again, if you guys have a different article or other insight that maybe I missed, it says that like basically the Tourism Oversight District, aka Disney, is going to give $500,000 to support a shared study in how much traffic and how much utilization we might actually see, because they know that if we bring more people from the airport over the convention center and then kind of over to iDrive, well, hey, then it's only another 5-minute Uber over to Disney Springs or all the parks in general. So I think that from what I can read anyways, it appears that they're just trying to invest, like to get the study going along with everyone else, but they're not saying that there's actually going to be a stop over at Disney Springs.
I feel like that's a huge miss.
I agree. I mean, to me, man, I kind of get it. I mean, so listen, Universal was basically giving property away and investing a ton to bring that over to the convention center, because where it stops is right next to Epic. And so it's like, that is going to be a massive win for Universal that I think Disney could have taken advantage of. But so far, I don't see. So developers estimate the project would be $6 million. Would allow Brightline to expand Tampa route along I-4. Developers estimate the project would cost $6 million and take 2 years to build. Also seems rather light. What's going on with West 2 News?
Oh, we got one thing here from SunRail. He says, yeah, read that.
So the original goal was Brightline to stop at Disney Springs. They up through 417, but Orlando and Universal lobbied against it to do 528. Disney canceled the station, but Disney sent a letter to the OBJ. But here's the thing. About that, from what I hear on 417, it was actually a right-of-way issue. So yes, Disney, maybe some other people lobbied, but it was also like a right-of-way issue going down 417. So going through Hunter's Creek and a bunch of other things, making a train go through some of people's backyard per se, it made more sense to be 528. Yeah. But you could absolutely be right as well. Yeah,
he said, he added, stating that they would open to a SunRail station specifically, so that's back. So,
all right, well, let's see it. Now we're gonna look together. Let's see here. SunRail, take you to Disney Springs. Nope. Possibly in the future. Soon, theme park goers may no longer have to rent cars to their Disney. The Florida DOT previously proposed a study looking at the expansion of the SunRail between Orlando International Airport and Disney Springs, referred to the Sunshine Corridor. Yes, we know that. We know. The City of Orlando Council voted unanimously last Monday to approve funding for the study. And Orlando Sentinel reported transportation officials are hoping that coalition of governments and private businesses to help pay for the $6 million study. There we go. It's a $6 million study.
There you go.
Which is needed to persuade the federal government to help with the extension. Florida Today. There we go. That was a much more usable.
There you go.
Usable article. SunRail is Central Florida's commuter-based train stops in Volusia County all the way through Osceola. And it's got a ton of different stations. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 different stations. Have you ever used this?
I have not yet. I have a friend that uses it pretty frequently to travel down to Miami, and he really enjoys it.
Yeah, you mean the Brightline?
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's get back over to some questions and then just knock them out, man. Which one do you want to go to next?
There's a bunch here. Let's go. So Sasha.
All right. So Sasha says, what builder community would you recommend that's affordable in the 600 to 800 range? Must have 5 bedrooms and 2 stories. That could be literally 50 different builders. So Sasha, I want to answer your question. So narrow it down for me. Is this a second home for you? Do you need to have any kind of amenities close by? What's important to you beyond just, the price point, if you will, and I can help you.
I think this is funny. One person on LinkedIn said, I don't know why I didn't pull their name, but funny. I'm watching from the Brightline.
I'm watching from Brightline as we speak.
Yeah. I'm going to just throw some at you and then you tell, you may have answers or not. Let's see.
Yeah. Mohammed says, question, do you have any update on the boardwalk project that will be planned in O-Town West? I don't have that, but I did see that the Tao Hotel and some of the other things that are going to be, we've all been waiting for those. Those are actually they have momentum again. And so that's, I think, a massive win for that O-Town West project. Because right now they've got Marriott World Vacations. They've got a lot of retail over there. They've got 2 massive apartment buildings. But the boardwalk piece, I have not seen, but I'm gonna put that as a note to look that up.
I like this one because we just made a piece about it. I don't know. Did we post it yet? I don't know. Hi, Ken. Is Neo City still a thing?
Yeah, it totally is. I mean, that's another one that we're waiting for funding to come through. They keep teasing different jobs and town centers and all this other stuff, but there's stuff already going on. Neo City Academy is already there. There are some different semiconductor companies that have already promised to invest in more stuff there. And so I think that's going to be it's definitely going to be a thing. It's just taking a little bit longer than a lot of us thought. So when I first started talking about it, maybe 3 years ago, I assumed that it would be something that would come right away. And so, it's like Westcourt. We talked about that a lot lately over the past year, and is like waiting until the funding hit. And then now, like, when I really know that something's happening, they're actually digging. That's I'll talk about stuff a ton, but I don't really believe it happens until they start digging. That's my new thing. Is that fair?
Yeah. Sasha came back here, so this gives you a little bit more context.
Cool. So Sasha said, they're going to be their first home. We have kids under 6. They must have a pool. That's pretty much it. And we're going to be moving from New York. Gosh. I mean, okay. So 600 to 800, again, that's such a broad kind of topic. That could literally be, that could be everything from East Side. It could be St. Cloud, and you're going to be in, Sunbridge could be a newer community. And you're going to have Pulte, Toll Brothers, Ashton Woods, David Weekley. There's there's just like so many. And so again, I'd love to help and narrow that down for you. But your 600 to 800 is every builder and every city that they're building in. And there's quite literally 250 new communities in Central Florida they're actively building. So dude, reach out to us. Check out the orlandoreal.com/real if you want to, and put kind of like your criteria, and we'll respond back with a ton of good ones for you. All right. What other questions do we have from the mailbag?
We got a handful here. Let's look here. I love this one. Elena from Lake Nona asks, what is the most Orlando thing that you've ever seen or experienced yourself?
Well, it's a pub sub. Oh no, that's a Florida thing. The most Orlando thing. I've got an answer, but what about you? Have you read these first? What do you think?
Man, I feel like there's so many different scenarios. I feel like it just depends on what area of Orlando you're in as well. Like, it's such a melting pot, right? Like, we have so many different people from different cultures, like every time that I go out, right? And especially if you're at the parks, and there's like little pockets within each area that like are their own little diverse bubbles, right? I'm trying to think about, all I go to is like Florida man stuff though, is just like, panhandling and like just that I feel like that's very Orlando, is just going to a 4-way stop and there's a a person on every corner.
All right. So here's what I would say. I would say, like, you know, if I think about the most perfect Orlando day, if I've got a friend of mine, I've got a lot of friends that are in real estate that come visit and they're here for one reason or the other. And the fact that, like, I'll try to take them to a Disney park. Well, no, usually I'll be like Briar Patch and Winter Park for breakfast, a Disney park to ride as much as we can, or Universal one, depending on what they're into. And then we'll like round out the day with an Orlando Magic game. And like, that's probably the most Orlando day that I can think of. But like, there's just so much things to do here. Like, I also think when I think about what's like very truly Orlando is how many Airbnbs we have here that have theming. And some of it is absolutely incredible. And other stuff.
That is the best answer.
What, the theming?
Yeah. The Airbnbs that have the theming.
Oh, bro. Like, think about that. Like, some of it you go in and it's like a Mickey sheet on a random bed and they try to say it's themed. And you're like, that's, I don't know if that's themed. Or like, you know, some people will have wallpaper that's, you know, whatever, but like everything else looks the same. But yeah, Disney and Universal themed Airbnbs. There we go. That's a really good answer.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's pop over here. Pro Football Talk, NBC Sports, Orange County, Florida authorizes $10 million to lure Jaguars to Orlando. And we're talking about the Jacksonville Jags for their 27 season. So if you guys don't know, the Jags are going to be updating their their stadium. And so like, where are they going to play? There's a bunch of other people. Gainesville is trying to get University of Florida. They're trying to get them to go over there. But basically they're saying like, hey, we're going to spend $10 million to lure the Jags to Orlando for their 2027 game. And that's so exciting to me. Florida Citrus Sports projects that the 2027 Jags home games, the 9th will be played in England, would generate something like $160 million of financial impact with people going to the games, flying in and everything else locally. So they spend $10 million to hopefully get 160 of impact. I'm here for it. Chase, I know you're not a massive NFL fan, but would you go to at least one? I
mean, I grew up near Jacksonville, so I went to Jags games regularly. So yeah, I'd absolutely go. I love any sort of in-person event for sports. I'm there. It's a fun time.
I think so too. Yeah. And everything that they're investing over at Camping World as well. I think that is like a lot of that's going to happen before the 2027 season. And so I think that it makes total sense. I mean, listen, I understand I'm obviously a bigger fan of Orlando than Gainesville. I think you got a lot more people that would be willing to come here. And if you look at the Pro Bowl that happens here and how many people show out for that, is just like a little glimpse of how Orlando could do NFL. I don't think we're getting an NFL team, but to be able to have it for at least just one season with the Jags, yep. I would they'd become my number 2 team. I'm not going to give up the Lions, but I would be going as many of them as I can.
If we ever get that baseball team.
If we ever get the baseball team.
I want it.
All right, let's go through a couple more here. Which one do we want to talk about next? All right, here's a good one. From the Growth Spotter, Clermont's Lumberyard District preps for its first phase. So this is a story that we started talking about not too long ago. And this is, again, when you start talking about projects that get announced, but then actually don't happen. This is not one of them. This is one that gets announced and then they're right on top of it. And so if you look, are you okay back there?
I don't know what that was. I have it behind me.
Jeez, oh, Pete. So if you look at right down on the water, this is the Lumberyard District. Master plan calls for 3 mixed-use buildings, 1 live-work building, and then 5 multifamily buildings on a 12-acre site. And so look at these. This is insane. Because here's the thing, like this. So this is situated on South Lake Trail. This is the Sawmill Entertainment Center. Will be a 2-story open air destination. This upstairs area is going to be the most sought after spot in downtown Clermont.
Very cool.
Because you're right on the water there. And at night, I could just imagine like get some good food, go upstairs, grab a drink, and just chill out with beautiful sunset.
Yep.
Really, really exciting. But beyond that, they are going to have a ton of different apartments and that kind of thing in that area as well. But Clermont, downtown Clermont, I've been talking about this for at least 4 years now. It's like it started off what to me felt like Winter Garden 8 or 9 years ago, where like you knew its potential, but it just hadn't lived up to it yet. And then now all of a sudden you look at downtown Winter Garden, there's new buildings going up, new restaurants coming in, they're popping up new buildings, kind of like all this infill stuff left and right. And so I think Clermont's going to be very, very similar. And actually, I think it probably has even more opportunity than Winter Garden, other than the fact that Winter Garden's just a little bit easier to get to. Downtown Clermont, you're on the water. You've got tons of trails around there. You've got a lot more land in that downtown area to develop. And so I think it's one of those things to pay attention to. if you want to go hang out, have a good time, or if you're looking to invest, all those good things.
Benjamin asks, here you go.
Favorite Walt Disney World Resort dinner for two. Well, I'll tell you one that's probably going to shock you. So we had Victoria and Albert's. People save up for that. That's like a once in a lifetime thing. Chase, I didn't really enjoy Victoria and Albert's.
I remember you telling me this.
I thought for the money, anyways, it wasn't my jam. But it was a great experience. Like the service was incredible. The experience was incredible. The company that we were with was incredible. But just like the food for the money was just like not my exciting thing. Where I like to spend this might not be everybody's like, maybe if you don't call it WDW or not. I like Kappa at the Four Seasons. It's within Walt Disney World property. Is that allowed to say?
I think so.
That's my favorite date night spot.
Yeah.
If we're going to go somewhere special, you get to see the fireworks at night. Incredible food, Michelin star restaurant. Absolutely wild.
My go-to, not a resort, but I really like Boathouse.
Boathouse is, very hard to beat. Yeah. Those buttery rolls.
I know.
It's at a Gibson's restaurant, by the way. If you're from the Chicago area, you know the Gibson restaurant. It's owned by the same company. And so the steaks are incredible. Seafood's amazing. Obviously harder to get into Boathouse because it's always packed.
Yep.
But yeah, that's great answer. What else we got?
Let's go to my question bag over here. Let's see. Interesting. Yeah, I'm thinking that one too. Yep. James from Dr. Phillips asks, there's always talk about housing affordability in Orlando. What's one creative solution the city or developers aren't doing yet that could make a real impact?
Yeah, man, it's so funny when people talk about affordable housing because it's a massive problem and something that we actually need to really solve. And yeah, everybody has their own way of A, what they think affordable housing is, and then B, how they think that they should solve it. Some people think that developers should just be forced to build smaller houses. Other people think that the government should get involved. Other people think that apartments are technically affordable housing, even though the average apartment here, I'm going to look this up now. This is wild. Average. What are you going to say?
I'm going to guess for what is it? A 1-bedroom? Is that what you're going to look?
Let's see.
I bet a 2-bedroom on average is around 2,100.
2-bedroom apartment. It says apartment, and this is again generative AI, so who knows? It says is $19.23 per month in Orlando. A 3-bedroom apartment is $22.71. So you weren't too close there or too far off. I know rents did pull back in regards to overall Orlando stuff. Like roughly 3 or 4% over the past year. There was just a glut. I think we had something like, someone told me the other day, there were like 2,400 new apartments that were created just in Orlando over the past year, which is a ton. And obviously supply and demand, the more supply, the demand goes down and prices come down a little bit. But I think there's actually some more interesting options here. Here, let's pull this up. This is over on the Orange County website. Housing for All. This is Mayor Deming's task force to create a lasting community-based solution for expanding housing options, improve affordability, and provide access to diverse, vibrant neighborhoods. That's their task force, what they've been tasked to try to create. So this is something, one of their many ways that they're trying to go about this. So it's, how do they produce, they call this, I think it's Orange Code. No, let's see. This is Ready, Set, Orange. There we go. I was close. It's basically like these not prefabbed, but like pre-approved models. Let's see if we can do this. Here we go. This is a beautiful house, right?
Yep.
And you look at it, it's 30 feet wide, first floor, second floor. These plans are already approved through the county to where if you build one, you don't have to go through the crazy long process of getting something approved, hopefully saving you also on architect fees and some other stuff. So it brings down the cost. And you'll notice that a lot of these are on the smaller side. So the Tangelo, there's a plan. It's a single level, single family residence with 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1,483 square feet. And then you've got other ones, some of the larger ones with ADUs, and ADU stands for accessory dwelling unit. And a lot of people are building their own house, then putting an ADU in the back, renting that out, which covers taxes and insurance, potentially bringing your overall cost of living down. So what it really has to do is, how do we get more developers to build these? Because I think about affordable housing, and I think that most people aren't going to be able to buy a lot, tear a house down, build one, that's not really an affordable process, right? This is typically somebody that's middle class and above. So how do we bring in more things like this to be able to say, hey, this is really smart for a developer or a builder to do, where they build these out and then sell them as an end product? And I think that, land costs got so out of control, and requirements from our buyers have actually continued to erode of like what they expect, because they're buying stuff with 0 lot lines as long as it has a great amenity. And so, affordable is kind of an interesting thing. I do think that we need to have some tax incentives to some of these developers to say, hey, if you build us a decent lot size and you build some of these more affordable houses, that there's some sort of tax incentive. I think that that's going to be one of the only ways to get some of the costs to come down. So something that we're always looking at, just trying to improve.
I got a couple here because I just want to follow up on the restaurant stuff.
Yeah.
So JT Couple said Space 220 food also sucked, but the experience was nice. Have you been to Space 220?
I've been to Space 220. Again, like the experience was out of this world. Am I allowed to say that? That's cheese. That's dad joke stuff. It was cool. I mean, I thought the whole experience. Now it has been revamped, and one of my favorite Disney food vloggers, Bethany Vinton, went back, I think the second time, and said it was a lot better. But it got revamped, right?
I did not know that.
So their menu, let's see. I'm just totally typing. Here we go. As of March 2025, Space 220 restaurant at Epcot and Walt Disney World's. No, let's see. Somebody told me that they redid the whole menu with different drinks and a whole bunch of other stuff, and they really enjoyed it the second time. The first time I went, I felt like it was okay. It was fine. You're paying for the experience to get okay food. That's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that this new menu maybe offers something a little bit more.
I enjoyed it, but I totally understand the sentiment. It was very expensive for what you got, I also wanted to mention, so Johnny said the new Wailulu bar at the Polynesian Tower is an awesome place to get drinks and some appetizers. Have you been yet?
I have, yes. And so, I think that all the hate people were having, the shade that people were throwing at the Polynesian Tower is totally unfounded. As we've been calling out stuff tonight, that I'm not just like fanboying everything we talk about, because I'm not. But I was shocked to hear all the Disney vloggers crap on Polynesian Tower. And as it was sterile and this and that. Like it's not 50 years old, right? Obviously it's like, of course it's new, but when you walked in, I mean, the stuff that was hanging from the ceilings, it felt like very green. I thought it was really well themed and really well executed. It was the day that the elevators were still working. So I was actually going up and touring different stuff. And they've got these little pockets throughout the hotel where you can go out and look over Bay Lake or Seven Seas Lagoon rather. Very cool. And so specifically that bar underneath, it's outside. And you can walk up, and if you want to put your name in, you can, or whatever, or the bar seating, which is actually plentiful. I think there's 25 seats out there. If somebody stands up, you just sit down and they'll serve you right away. And so depending on if you want to wait around or put your name in. But yeah, I've been there twice now. The food was great. The drinks were great. Just overall great ambiance. So that's my riff.
Whenever I haven't been and sat down yet, but we walked back from Magic all the way around the other night and just stopped in, looked around and saw everything. It was beautiful. I mean, I loved the way it looked. I get the whole sterile feeling because the Poly has a very retro feeling to it, but I thought it was great. I thought it looked great, Yeah,
I think some people just like to complain, and I don't know. It gets the clicks, right? That's the problem. Is that all these really let me crap on something so I get the clicks and get paid the CPMs instead of give an honest opinion. So, anyways, you and I talk about that all the time. Our favorite vloggers are the ones that just give the straight scoop, whether it's good or bad.
Yep. Man, we got a bunch that just rolled in right here. How about this one?
Rolling with the Reeds. That's a cool one. Hey, Ken, are we looking to move to Orlando within the next year, initially as renters? What sites other than Zillow do you suggest researching available homes for lease? Dang, that's a great question, because this is something we get asked often. And so we currently don't have tenant representation as part of what we do. And so we run into this often. It's interesting. Where I'm from in Michigan, a lot of the property managers loved working with real estate agents, and we would compensate each other to make it worth your while, because it's a lot. You tour multiple days, multiple houses, get the lease done. It's a long process to find something, and yet for whatever reason Orlando is just different in terms of the the community base between property managers and that sort of thing. Zillow's fine, although like a lot of times the leases stay up on Zillow a little bit longer, and then you find out after you've submitted your application about 100 times that it's already gone. Realtor.com is good. Apartments.com is actually great as well. There's a lot of places that are apartments, but then a lot of people list their houses on there. But like my tip to you would be that instead of going on Zillow and putting in your application, which many times won't even get responded to, is just reach out to the property manager directly and say, hey, is this 123 Main Street still available? And then what are your requirements? Because many times it's a pet fee. Some people allow pets, some people don't. You've got first month and security. There's so many different things, and every property manager does it a little bit different. Some people do like first application in gets it as long as the credit and income matches up. Some people collect like 40 of them and then choose the best one. And so asking those questions up front so you're not knocking through lease fees and spending a ton of application money would be another little tip that I would give you. But man, hope that helps, and welcome to Orlando.
Got another one here from Bill. So I can read it to you. So he's looking for something somewhat close to Disney and Winter Garden, where you can get a nice home with a decent sized lot that has mature trees. Because I feel like that's something we run into a lot with a lot of new build, right?
Yeah.
Not a neighborhood devoid of trees. Looking for something not like the Truman Show for 600,000.
And he said near Disney, somewhat close to Disney.
Yeah.
Hunters Creek has actually, I mean, even though it's much, it is newer, there's so much of Hunters Creek now that is 35, 40 years old that you've got like, or 30, 35 years old, where the trees are gorgeous and like have that overhang vibe already going to them. And you're 15 minutes from Disney. I think that's a great one. Beyond that, I'm trying to think. Close to Disney, you've got like Davenport, Champions Gate, Celebration, Horizon West. Like all of those are new and don't have the vibe that you're going to be looking for until you start getting into some of the older Winter Garden areas. So some of the downtown areas, like where our studio's at, a lot of newer houses and some of the older houses that are in the 600s. And so, yeah, there's lots of options in some of the little bit more mature areas.
Yeah. Anything else from you? Any other? Oh, go for it.
Sorry. Go ahead. I've got a little theme park piece over here that's not Disney or Universal, but SeaWorld Orlando marks 1,000th manatee rescue. Manatee unusual mortality event in Florida is over, state says. It says that's celebrating its 1,000th manatee rescue and encouraging everyone to stay mindful on the water since 1976. The rescue team at SeaWorld Orlando has operated one of the 3 critical care facilities in the United States, and they've helped over 1,000 manatees. That's kind of wild, right? They helped 61 manatees in 2024 alone and returned 38 of them back to the sea. So I think that's really cool. I know like SeaWorld got such a bad rap from Blackfish and all these other movies, but when you look, they do such a good job for conservation and a lot of the stuff for the wildlife. So that's just kind of cool. Chase, when was the last time you were at SeaWorld?
When was the last time? It may have been one of those Halloween events, or you know what? I think it was one of their food events. We went to one of those. Honestly, their food events, fantastic.
Yeah, I mean they're cheaper as well. I mean they're like not as well attended, so you're not like body to body. Their roller coasters are freaking awesome. So not a sponsored ad by SeaWorld. But what we will tell you is that if you're looking to buy or sell a house anywhere in Central Florida, my team and I want to be your real estate resource of choice. We still got a couple minutes left of the show, but if you don't mind hitting that like button down below, it helps a lot. And when you're looking to buy or sell a house, theorlandoreal.com/YouTube to get started. Chase, we have almost 1,600 5-star reviews over on the Google now.
I do. I actually knew that are we the highest yet?
Oh, we definitely are. We're the most reviewed real estate team in all of Orlando on Google, on the Google bots, as well as the most followed. So, well done.
Is it because we're the best?
I mean, that's some 1,600 people would say so, or like 1,597, something like that would say that we are. Yeah. All right, we got a couple other questions here, and then we're going to wrap up for the evening.
Let's look.
Kim said, "Did I see that Sawgrass Bay and Sierra Noah Lakes communities are banding together to get the new connector road open?" I did not hear that. I had heard that it was delayed until next year. So you're telling me something new, Kim. Thank you for that. Let's see. So Sierra Lake County connector. Let's see here. All right, click Orlando. Lake County residents look for answers over Orange County Connector Road. This is just last week, so hopefully this is what you're talking about. People who live off Sawgrass Bay Boulevard in Clermont are planning to protest and plan the planned connector road. Wait, what? They're planning a protest over it. Back in August, the county commission approved a bid for the roundabout, but people are wondering what's happening on the Orange County side. That's what they're protesting. Let's see. Marcus Vivian said the connector road was a huge reason why he bought in Serrano Lakes. Yep, so many people are. It's like a huge lack of integration. It fragments reality. Each one of us is a different story when we call in. Yeah, so this is, I mean, hopefully, I don't know, the protests. I'm not sure. I'm not going to get in there. Protests, do it. I mean, I'm like, it can't hurt. It's insane that it's taking forever. But yeah, great tip, Kim. I'm going to definitely look into it and see what's going on from there.
We got a great question here from Kelly.
Hit me.
There you go.
All right. So Kelly asks, Michigander here. We're headed to Orlando tomorrow to familiarize ourselves with the different areas. What are your favorite family communities that we should check out? So Kelly, as a real estate agent, I'm not allowed to say a few things, 3 actually. What's a safe area? What's a family area? And what schools are good and not? It's the weirdest thing, but the state doesn't want me steering people one way or the other. But I would tell you a few things as a Michigander. Hopefully you're near the Detroit area. I would say that Winter Park is like Birmingham, and Horizon West is like Northville. I would say that Clermont is like South Lyon. And if you know what all of that means, then you know that kind of points you in the right direction. So I hope that's helpful as a Metro Detroiter.
Gotcha.
Let's see.
I got
Sean says California Grill during firework time is another great date spot. Summer House on the Lake also at Disney Springs. Summer House on the Lake. Man, it has been so hit or miss for us. We've been twice. And the first time we went was because the drone show is there, which I sorely missed. Like, that was such a cool show. But if you sit on the back veranda of the summer house, you get to kind of see the view, and it's beautiful. But man, the first time we went, not the greatest experience. The food was okay. Second time, tacos were okay. Vibes are immaculate though. Like, that's the thing. Like, again, so much of what we have here is incredible experience and okay food. But the cookies at Summer House, the desserts at Summer House, top tier. Speaking of cookies, I got this candle from Steve at Gideon's. If you've not seen these candles, again, not sponsored, but this is the Morning Joe candle. This thing is like, did you know that Gideon's does cookies? Our whole studio smells like a freaking cookie.
Gideon's does candles. You said Gideon's does cookies.
Oh yeah, they do candles.
Yep.
And cookies.
They
do those too, if you didn't know.
Yes, they did. Big surprise. I thought they were just a candle shop.
All right, let's see. We have JT couple says, where do I see Bella Colina market and growth-wise in the future? I think Bella Colina has always been this kind of like interesting one where it's on the cusp, and it's again one of those ones that seemed like forever away drive time wise until the road networker started catching up. And so now it's getting easier and easier to get there. I think the fact that it's gated and also significantly cheaper than say like Windermere, you're spending half the cost of Isleworth in Bella Colina. Now it's not the cachet of Isleworth, but it's new, and they have some of their lots are insane, like 5-6 acre lots for the larger estates, and then you have stuff on the smaller side. So I think for the long haul, Bella Colina is going to do extremely well. I know that there's been a little bit of a glut of inventory because in any time when you have a pullback on a market, those outer band areas start slowing down first. And then they're also like, because it's so close to everything, it's going to be one of the first that kind of boom as we get out of this next cycle, whenever that might happen.
I don't know what this means, but what does this mean?
Mineola is like Rochester Hills. Pickles, that's a great analogy. So Rochester Hills is right outside of kind of a lot of the tech centers / higher end areas, but it's right outside of that. And so it's a lot of like a newer kind of area, similar build kind of stuff. So Mineola is like Rochester Hills. That makes a lot of sense because Mineola is right outside of, say, Clermont and Winter Garden. And so it's like one of those emerging areas that doesn't have a lot of stuff yet, but you know that it's going to be long-term awesome. Any other questions?
Looking through here. I mean, I have a ton from my list if you want me to throw a couple more at you.
There was one I think that you sent me here that I wanted to answer. I thought was a really good one. Oh, this one right here is, I think, a good one from Devin.
Yeah. Devin from College Park says, with so many people moving to Orlando from places like New York, California, and the Midwest, do you think the culture of the city is changing? If so, how?
I don't actually. Like, I think that this was one thing, especially during the pandemic, you saw a lot of people say, like, you know, hey, if you're coming from California, don't bring your politics or whatever. But like, we've always been a melting pot. There's always been people from New York moving here. It's like all the time. New Jersey, DC, Chicago, California, Texas. Like, we're just such a melting pot. And it's one of the reasons I love living here, is that not everybody thinks the same way. Not everybody's from the same place. There's a very few people that are actually from Orlando, although that's starting to change, which is really cool, where you're seeing more and more families come, stay, and not move away. But no, I don't think so. I think we've always been a melting pot. And because, like, that's the one thing that you could almost get to know somebody over the quickest, is like, where are you from? And like having that sense of community, of like feeling anyways, of you relocated here for some reason. It might be a job. It might be, retirement, it might be theme parks. There's like a million different reasons. But because many people are not from here, you just kind of instantly get that connection, which I think is cool. And hopefully it continues.
Yeah.
All right.
One more, because I think this is a good follow-up.
Okay.
So Chris from Austin asked, I'm moving to Orlando soon, and I've heard it's difficult to find community because it's such a tourist town. Do you agree that it's difficult? And how should I go about finding community in Orlando?
Oh, that's a great one. So community, like, we did a whole research paper on this, of like how people find community, why they decide to move somewhere and not move away, and how important community was. And we found a lot of different insights in this. And like, so moving to an area that has, you know, I think about, if you're not moving to one of these HOAs, like a celebration that has an insane amount of things to do, then find something to get into. And like, we were talking about this the other day, like, run clubs in Orlando are everywhere. On every Monday night at like either a brewery, or like there's churches that do it now. There's a whole bunch of other places where you can get into a run club and find community. There's something for everyone here that is like some sort of club. And so, but you need to be more purposeful. Like, this is the one thing that you can't buy a house, this is actually a shock. This shocked me anyways, Chase. You can't just go to Disney and find other Disney fans, as weird as that sounds. Like, you don't go to Disney and like just find random friends.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to go.
I agree.
Right. Isn't that weird? Like, you're in the midst of hundreds of thousands of people, and it can feel lonely.
Yeah. I mean, I remember whenever I first moved here, like, I went to the parks alone sometimes, just like on some nights, and you'll be in a single rider queue with other people doing the same thing as you. And it's just like, you don't end up creating those connections. You got to really try. Right.
Yep.
So I agree with you.
So it's getting involved. And that being said, like, the opportunity for community is everywhere if you decide to plug in. And so getting really clear on like what you enjoy, maybe with the 2, 3, 4 things, the fringe things that you're into, going on Reddit and saying, okay, is there a run club? Is there a theme park club? There's like all types of meetups that you can get involved with, but you have to be purposeful. And if you're not, then you're going to feel isolated, and then maybe you'll end up moving back to Austin. I don't know. But anyways, this has been a cool show. I appreciate you guys. We had a really good turnouts tonight, and we'll be back live next Thursday. Make sure you drop a comment down below, and or email your questions, info@pozekgroup.com. We'll see you guys on the next live.